All right, we are recording, so let's get started. Obviously, I'm not Brooke. The real Brooke is down below, I think, just listening in. But wanted to welcome you guys all to Team Liberate call September, 23rd? Wow, this month is flying by. So wanted to hop on quickly and introduce our guest. We have Allison Clark today. Allison is a one-star diamond, full-time coach, and also a national leadership conference attendee, which is something that all of us are striving for. So I'm going to turn it over to Allison, who is going to talk about vision. Allison, are you still on the call?
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Oh, there you are, in the middle.
Yeah. So I will always, I always say this before I start a call, I'm a dog mom and we have 3 crazy dogs. So I'm hoping that they're going to behave, but you might see them like walking around behind me, or our husky gets a little bit mouthy, but I'll do my best. I'm really excited to talk to you guys about vision because it's something that's really carried me through my business. And I know that especially for like new coaches or coaches that are really working up to building this full time, it's something that can just help you through all of the crap. So I have some tangible tips on why you need it and how to craft it and how to develop it. But there's a couple of things that I like to kind of dive into first, just to kind of like preface things. So before I dive into all of the content, I want to make sure that you guys know vision's changed. Okay. I don't know where you guys are at in your business, but your vision can be 100% different from where it was a month ago or a year ago, or maybe even 5 years ago. And that's normal. That's totally okay. Like, I would encourage it for you to keep developing new visions and keep dreaming big and like working for new things. So your vision is something that I typically say, like, it's going to develop over time. Like, it's not something that has to be absolute. It continues to develop as our situations develop or our life changes or events happen, things like that. So just kind of keep that in mind. Another thing I always like to make sure the people I'm talking to know, like, your vision is your own. So I don't know if there's any people pleasers on the call. Like, I'm a chronic people pleaser. My husband is a people pleaser. And it took us a really long time to be able to be okay just going for our vision and like being confident in that and working towards it despite what other people wanted for our life. So your vision is yours. It has to be something that motivates you, something that fires you up. Because if you're working for something that someone else decided for you, it's really easy to quit, or it's really easy to slow down or get in a funk. So it needs to be something that comes from you and comes from your heart. So I think sometimes it's easy in this network to look at other coaches and be like, well, I want that, or I want that, and what they're doing. But you need to make it your own, because we're all motivated by different things. And what might motivate me might not motivate you. So keep that in mind as you go forward in developing this. I also like to say, you guys can have different visions for the different areas of your life. So you can have a vision for your fitness, your finances, your business, your marriage, if you're married, your kids, like how you want to parent. So you can have all of these individual visions, but they can all tie together. It's up to you. I have like 1,000 vision boards. Maybe that's a little bit of an exaggeration, but I have so many different vision boards, and they are for all of the different areas of my life. It's not just one vision that I have. So now that we've got that covered, let's dive into why you actually need a vision. I think sometimes this might be part of your new coach training. We started implementing it in our team, but a lot of coaches come into this network and they see what we do. They might see us working from home full time. They might see us traveling, but they don't really know how to craft a vision for their own life. And that's why I really love to just talk about it, because I think it's so important, because your vision is what is going to carry you through the crappy times, okay? So there are times in this business, and I hope there's like not a brand new coach that I'm going to scare away, but there are times in this business where things are harder than normal, or where we might be hearing a lot of no's just because of the season we're in, right? Like back to school, it's kind of a crazy time for people. So there's going to be tough days or tough weeks and sometimes tough months that we have to push through. And if you don't have that strong vision or that strong why, it's going to be so much easier to throw in the towel. So not only are there hard times in business, but there are hard times in life, right? Like we go through crap and things happen sometimes that are out of our control. So whether it be like, God forbid, like a death in the family or an injury or even a new baby, like things happen and things mess with our schedule and things change. And it's so easy to put this business on the back burner. But when you have something bigger that you're working towards, it's like fuel for your fire to keep going. Okay. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, but this is what is going to give you something to fight for when it gets hard, when you hear no, when you're getting frustrated with things. Okay. So let's talk about how to craft your vision. I don't know. I think like the way that I do this is a little bit untraditional, but it's really helpful for me. So I hope it's helpful for you guys too. But the easiest way I think to craft it is to not just think about the things that you want for your life, but to think about the things you don't like in your life. So your pain points. And honestly, getting familiar with the pain points that you have in your life is going to help you connect to your audience and attract your people. So I think it's just important to think about those things, even if it sucks. So the examples that I usually give that kind of helped me craft my vision, things like commuting. I used to commute 2 hours a day. My husband was commuting 2 hours a day. Working 10-hour days, working in a job that's not fulfilling, never having enough money at the end of the week, living paycheck to paycheck, things like that. Like that's what I'm talking about when I talk about pain points. So really think about the things in your life that you're not happy with and that you want to make better. I don't think it's wrong to want to make those things better. So I'm going to read off some questions for you guys too, because these questions really helped me develop my vision, and I think they'll help you too. I've adapted them a little bit from Josh Coates. So if you guys have been through his training, you may have already heard these, and I can send them over to Brooke and Joe. So you don't have to worry about writing them down, but really just start thinking about them and think about things like from a future standpoint. So if time and money weren't an issue, what would your ideal schedule look like? Would you be waking up early? Would you maybe like get to sleep in? Would you get to work for 2 or 3 or 4 hours a day instead of all day long? Would you want to have a slow morning to yourself, drinking coffee or energize if that's your jam? Think about what your schedule would look like if you got to control it. Think about the things that you're spending time on that you don't want to. So are there tasks in your life that you're not currently happy with? These can be mundane things like doing the laundry or doing the dishes or cleaning your house. We don't have a house cleaner. We just moved into a fixer-upper. But that is like a goal of ours because I don't want to take the time to do it. I don't want my husband to take the time to do it. So think about those things like that you're doing that you don't personally have to do. What parts of your life are you not currently happy with? So I would encourage you to think about the financial aspect. I would encourage you to think about time, nutrition, fitness. Think about all of those things and think about the things that really just make you go like, ugh, like they just kind of tick you off. Think about things that you want, but you were maybe told it's too extravagant or too expensive. So I like to use the example of flying first class because this is something, it's just a goal that my husband and I have. We love to travel. We like to go places all the time. And flying coach gets to be real annoying sometimes, especially when you have like connections. So think of things that people have maybe told you are too much or too extra that you still want and you are willing to fight for that. I know that's kind of like a silly example, but I hope you guys kind of get the picture from that. Next question. What's something that you're passionate about but don't have a lot of time to spend doing it right now? So things like hobbies. Maybe you really love to cook, but you are stuck in a job and you only have like 30 minutes a day to throw together dinner for your family. Maybe you want to learn to play an instrument or learn to speak a foreign language. Those are a couple things on my vision board right now, but you feel like you don't have time for it. Think of things that you would love to do, like if you had more time. I hope this doesn't offend anyone, but what pisses you off? I think that's like that's just the best way to say it. What ticks you off like in the world? The example that I use a lot is the environment or like ocean preservation. That's something that my husband has been really passionate about, and it's kind of like worn off on me, and it just like hurts our heart. Like we would love to be able to do a volunteer trip that helps with those causes or even donate money to those things. So think about things that you really just like things that irk you in our world that you would love to be able to make a difference in. Okay, the last thing on how to craft your vision. Those are the questions. Like I said, I can send them over if you want them. But the biggest thing that you're going to want to focus on when crafting your vision is you really just need to get crystal clear. Like you have to get so specific with your vision that you know every single detail and every single aspect. So the best way to think about this is like using all your 5 senses to think about your vision. And I know this is going to be kind of hard for like some areas of your life, but think about it as like a business goal. So I heard Ashley McClellan talk about this one time. She was talking about how she was going for, I think it was I don't know what rank it was, maybe 5-star. And instead of just thinking about that rank, she attached it to a specific moment. So for her, it was taking her child to Disney World. So every time that she was working her business, she would sit down and think about that time. I adapted that to my own life because we are a team that is pushing for elite. So I thought, okay, if we can hit elite, we're going to take our honeymoon to Thailand or wherever we go at that time. But I got really crystal clear to the point where I was thinking about the little hut, like the little ocean hut that we were staying in, what I would be wearing when I got the elite call, how I would feel. I would probably cry because I'm a really emotional person. I got all of the emotions going and all of the senses going. And that really just like helped me hone in on that goal, because that's a lot more exciting than pushing and chasing numbers elite, like the elite qualifications, right? So the more specific you can get, the better, and the more emotion you can tie to it, even better yet. Does that make sense? I see the chat box going, so I usually get kind of distracted by that, so I'll wait to the end to read those. Okay. So let's talk about how to develop your vision, because it's one thing to have it, but it's basically, if you don't spend time developing it, it's like having our own workout DVDs sitting on your shelf, not using them, right? Like that's the best analogy I can come up with for that. So we need to actually be intentional about it. And I think like with anything in life, we have to be intentional, right? If we want our business to grow, we have to be intentional. If we want to get in shape, we have to put the work in. So if you want to really develop this vision and let it fuel you and use it to your advantage, you have to work at it, because it's not something that you can just think of one time and like push it off in a corner. It's not going to help you or benefit you if you do that. So these are my favorite ways to develop it. I'm sure you can get creative and think of some other ones, but here are the ones that I like to use. So my favorite is crafting a vision board. I'm not a crafty person. Like I didn't take time to flip through magazines and cut out pictures. Like I just went in Canva. I got a blank screen, and I thought about the things I wanted to slap on there. Okay. So I thought about the different areas of my life, like fitness. Right now I have the work on there, completing it 100% to a T with the nutrition. That's something my husband and I are committing to. We have saving money for our new house. We have this fixer-upper that we just bought, and I want to finish the downstairs. So it's just these random things, and they can be big or small. I think one of the smaller things I had on there was just like being able to subscribe to Fabletics and not feel guilty. So I thought about things that I wanted and things that I wanted to achieve. So we have business goals on there too. I just found graphics for all of those little things, and I put them in Canva and I printed it out. That vision board is now on our fridge. It's in my journal in the morning. It's supposed to be hung above my above my computer, but we just moved, so it's not quite up there yet. But the more areas that you can think of to put this, the better, because it's going to be this constant reminder, like, oh yeah, that's what I'm working for. Oh yeah. Then you get excited about it all over again. So that's my favorite way. Like just look at it all the time. If you can take time to think about that in the morning and just close your eyes for a couple minutes, or do the same thing before you sit down and work, that's going to help you really dive into that and really just like work with intention and work with purpose towards creating that vision. So this second way, affirmations. I don't know if you guys are an affirmations team. They are like super big on my team. We're into like all that woo-woo stuff. But I think the more areas that you can, I don't know, expose yourself to with this, the better. Like, even if you don't necessarily believe it, if you can kind of get yourself into the groove and get over the weirdness of it, when you turn your vision into affirmations, that's just another way for your brain to be like, okay, this is what we're working towards. I really believe that we attract what we focus on. So if you're constantly focusing it by looking at it and or reading it in your head or reading it out loud, that's a lot of points of exposure for you, right? Okay, so obviously that's pretty self-explanatory. If you guys need some examples, I can share some, but think about the things you want, turn them into an affirmation statement like it's already happened. The last way, share your vision. I know that this is kind of scary because we don't like to put things out there because there's a chance we could fail, right? Especially in this business. If you're pushing for a certain rank or pushing for a certain recognition piece like Premier or Elite, like it can be scary to tell the universe that you're going to do that, right? But when you do that, people not only see you work towards that, and when you achieve it, they're going to be like, dang, she did it, or dang, he did it. They also connect to you about that. So just for example, one of the silly things on my vision board, I'm not a car person at all, but for some reason, I am very attracted to Range Rovers. Like the clinic I used to work at had one, and I was like, yep, that's going to be my dream car. I see those suckers all over the town, like all over town now, but I also have people that come to me and they're like, I want that too, because they've seen me post about it. I share that publicly. No, I don't have one. I don't know how long it's going to take us to get one, but I'm putting it out there. Another one, like I said, they don't have to be big. I personally want a hobby farm. Whether my husband agrees with that or not, we're going to get one because I'm pretty dang good at attracting my visions into reality. People know that about me. So I'm attracting animal lovers. I'm attracting people that want to stay home with their dogs. They saw me like for 2 years talk about being at home with my dogs. Now it's not as glamorous as I imagined it to be, but we make it work. So share that publicly because that will help people relate to you and help people connect to you. And also, like I said, when you achieve it, they're going to be like, dang, okay, she was serious. Now I'm ready to join her. So not only sharing it publicly, but tell your family and friends about it, especially if you're married. Like you kind of got to bring them in on the vision. And I think sometimes it's fun, like if you are married, to develop that with your spouse. Like we have a couple of our visions that are together, and we have a travel vision board because that's like our thing. That's what we like to do. And I think like sometimes, I don't know how your situation is, but just in general, I think sometimes like family and friends can doubt us in this business, right? Like MLMs and network marketing, they have a bad rap. But I think when you can give them something, instead of just saying, hey, I'm a coach, I'm doing this online thing, you can be like, I'm doing this because I'm working for this. I'm creating this better life for my family. Fortunately, I don't have like crazy family members that have doubted me, but I know that it's really, really common in this business. So when you can tell them something that you're working towards, I think it helps them take it a little more seriously. So that's how you develop it. And there's just a couple things that I like to finish with because I think they're really easy to forget. So like I said in the beginning, your vision is yours, but that also makes it your responsibility to protect. Nobody else is going to be as motivated by your vision as you are. Nobody else is going to work towards your vision as hard as you are. Nobody else is going to protect it, okay? People walk all over this stuff if you let them. So you have to be selfish in protecting it. And the example that I like to use is like in-laws, because this has been like a struggle in our business, like mine and my husband's. I don't really say yes to things that don't serve my vision anymore. And sometimes it creates tension, but it's okay because they don't see that vision and I do. I'm going to protect it regardless of what their opinion is. So like I said, no one else is going to protect it. Nobody else is really going to help you create this. Like it is up to you. Like this business is up to you. Your vision is up to you. So the last thing, I know that this is hard and I hope it doesn't ruffle feathers, but you got to be okay saying no to things that don't align with it. I know it's hard because we're like in a yes world, right? It's so easy to say yes. It's so easy to overcommit ourselves and overwhelm ourselves with things that don't matter. But when you have this vision and you can check yourself against it, I feel like it's a lot easier to act within your priorities. So if someone asks you to do something and you think about it, like, okay, is this gonna like help, like, am I gonna find enjoyment from it, or is it gonna help my future? Is this like in alignment with my vision and what I really want to do and what I really want to create? It's easy to make a decision based on that. Okay. That's all I have. That's what I've got. I told you he'd come make an appearance. So let me take a look at the chat box. I hope that all makes sense. Anybody have any questions?
That was awesome. So we'll open it up to questions. I know I have a couple.
Okay.
You know what? I'll go first.
Go ahead.
So let's see. So how do you balance the different parts of your life? Like,
I'm like
while
totally
still going after your vision.
So for me, balance is something that I'm working on. Balance and discipline with my business hours and personal life. But I feel like since I've started my business, I've been able to kind of let go of the things that don't really serve me. And this might be unpopular, but sometimes that means not staying connected with friends that I was with before because they don't have bigger visions for their lives. Sometimes it's meant like saying no to a social life. But because my husband and I are on the same page with our vision, it's easy for us to make decisions. Like, we don't really do a lot of things that don't make us happy or that aren't going to benefit us in some way. I don't know if that was the best answer. I'm still working on some of like the hobbies and fitting those into my life. Does that make sense?
Yep, makes great sense.
Okay.
So 2-part question. Have you shared your vision publicly with your team? And if so, how do you get them to not necessarily rally around it, but how do you share your vision with your team and create a culture around your vision?
Okay. Something we're still working on, but I feel like our team really made a shift during Summit this year. But it was because I made a shift. Like, I think that first of all, you have to be okay sharing a vision and realize that it's not selfish. Like, that's something that I really struggled with. I'm like, okay, we want to go for a lead, but I don't want my team to think that we're just doing this so I can get the recognition. I want them to be part of it, right? So I had to work through those beliefs on my own, like through personal growth. But it also came down to like a mindset shift in my business. And so I shared it. I shared our vision for 5-Star Elite. I went live and I talk about rank advancing a lot. I talk about the fact that we're advancing diamonds a lot. I just talk about it a lot on our team page. And I reached out to the coaches that were like actively working the business and the ones I saw showing up. And I said, okay, we have this scary goal of going for 5-Star Elite. It's okay if you don't want to push for this. I'd love for you to, but are you on board? Like, I sent them some kind of message like that after Summit. And I think I had like 7 coaches respond. Our team is still like in its growth phases. Had 7 coaches respond. Not all of them are still pushing for diamond. And I think that we have to be okay with that because, like, yes, we want them to rally around it, but on the other hand, we don't want to be pulling people. So it's this constant battle between sharing your vision, continuing to share your vision, but also attracting people that are on board with that vision. So I think a lot of that comes down to like yourself and what you're sharing on social media. So when I typically make a shift in my business, I change the way that I post. Like, I talked about Elite, like, I think I put up like a public post 2 or 3 times. People don't know what Elite is, but I said we're going to do it. I don't know if we are, but we're going for it. And I talk about my like leaders. Like, I don't have Star Diamond leaders on my team, but I talk about them as if they are leaders. And I just constantly pour belief into them and I run with the running, even if their running isn't the same as my running. That help at all?
Yep.
Okay.
Great. Anyone else have any questions?
Let's see.
Any in the chat?
I just want to say that was awesome. Thank you so much. Like, I feel like you could type that in the chat box, but it doesn't really like convey it. So I needed this call. So thank you.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I love to talk about this because I'm like the queen of visualizations. Like, I'll make vision boards all the time. Like, I just updated mine for this year. Like, it's September, but there's still 3 months left. So
Even I made a vision board.
That's awesome.
Well, they say that you are like 10 times more likely to reach a goal if you state it publicly.
I've heard that. I think it's like scary. Like, I'm trying to think of all the things that I've talked about publicly. I have talked about our hobby farm. I used to talk about staying at home with my dogs all the time. I used to talk about not going to a job. Now I don't have to. I talk about the white Range Rover. Like, it's just, I posted in my stories, even like when we're driving. So people, like, without knowing it, are on board with my vision because I'm always talking about it. And I feel like that's sometimes easier to talk about as a coach than like what you've achieved, especially if you're newer and don't have a lot of like wins under your belt.
I really like how you just brought up the point of like saying no. I feel like sometimes like buckling down and being disciplined to make like positive changes, like starting working out and stuff, is easier for people to like cut ties because that's their security blanket or that's their comfort zone. But then anytime that they go back into that situation, they leave like pissed off or sad or disappointed or whatever. And I was like having that exact conversation with my sister-in-law today. It's like, let go of the security blanket. If they're not serving you, like, you have to ask yourself, like, would that person or that situation, like, the tables were turned, like, they're always going to be doing something that benefits them with, like, no regard to you. So it's, like, not selfish to do the same thing if you know it's better for you. Your health, in a healthy way. Like,
Yeah.
so I think that is hard to, like, tell people and, like, try and get them to understand that it is okay to, like, let go.
Something that, so I don't know if you guys are big into Grant Cardone, but this is something that helped me a ton because I don't like to say no. I have a really hard time making decisions. But I've been basically listening to Be Obsessed or Be Average on repeat since our team has been hustling since Summit. And that kind of helped me a lot too, because he says you have to be obsessed with the things you want. Like, nobody else is going to be obsessed with those things. So sometimes it makes you look like an a-hole. Like, I look like an a-hole a lot of times in front of my husband's family because I say no to things that don't serve me. I don't go out to eat with them because I have a lot of food intolerances. I'm not going to sacrifice feeling like crap just to make somebody else happy. For example, we didn't go to a wedding this weekend, and it'll probably ruffle feathers, but we needed time just to ourselves. Like, we needed that. So we took that instead of the other option that would have made other people happy. So it's hard, but I think the more you do it, the better you get at it too. Like, now I have no problem. Like, sorry, like, I'm busy, I can't. But
I mean, a good way to look at it is like from a business perspective, and there's other different scenarios too. But from a business perspective, if it's not helping you build your business or if it's not helping you earn money, then the answer is no.
yes.
So
I like
you can translate that to other situations, like if it's not helping you lose weight or if it's not helping you improve your health, the answer is no. Whatever the situation is, you can sort of ask yourself similar questions to get to that answer.
Yes, I like that. All areas of life.
I really like how you tie an outcome, not an outcome, but you tie sort of a reward to meeting the goal. I love that.
Oh, I'm very rewards driven. So that's like easy for me.
As soon as I get to elite, we're doing this.
Yeah, I do that with everything. My coach, I was fortunate enough, like, my coach offered me her guest spot at leadership, but I had a month to help my husband go diamond. I was like, okay, well, I like to travel, so I'll basically do anything to come with you. And we did it. Like, I think sometimes when you put that pressure on yourselves, you can surprise yourself, and like, the rest is history. Like, I don't know. I thought about that trip every single morning that I was hustling. And that was a really hard time in our business because I was hustling and I took out all the fluff, but that's something I thought about every morning. And I think sometimes too, you can use it in reverse. So I also thought about how I would feel if she went without me. And I was like, ooh, that would not feel good. So, like, think about how it would feel if you didn't reach your goal or reach your vision, and think about how crappy that would make you feel.
So we do have some new coaches on the call. What, if you can give them one piece of advice, what would you give them?
Oh gosh. Okay. So I was one of those. I was the coach that didn't know that coaching was a business opportunity. So it took me a long time to get started. But I think, let me think about this for like 1 second. I'm trying to think back to when I first started. I feel like you do need to develop a vision, but you also need to keep things simple. Like when you're pushing for a goal, whether it be like emerald or ruby or diamond, do the business actions. You don't need to do a bunch of extra trainings other than what Brooke or Upline is giving you. You don't have to go do all this extra stuff. You don't have to create your own graphics. I yell at my coaches all the time, like, stop wasting time with graphics because you're a new coach. You don't need to do that. Like, don't recreate the wheel. Focus on what your coach gives you and focus on that Success Club tracker. And one thing that I just heard the other day, I think this was like a Bob Heilig podcast, celebrate the work. Okay, I think that that's really hard for us, especially when you're brand new, because you might not have a lot of traction. You might not have a lot of wins to celebrate, but celebrate showing up and doing the work. If you crushed your invites, celebrate that. It doesn't, like, yes, it matters if someone said yes, but you still did the work. You still showed up. So don't get down on yourself when people are saying no. Like, celebrate showing up and celebrate the hustle.
Annie said something to me a couple of months ago that like really just is like a light bulb went off, and she said there's a lot of busy work in this business that doesn't move your business forward. Mm-hmm. And the graphics was like something that I was spending so much time like editing, changing, moving things, and I'm just like, this isn't even getting on my space or my story to even make it worth anything anyway, because I'm spending an hour making this crap and it's not doing anything. So that was like a moment for me that I was like, okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, just like get it out and like spit it out as fast as you can so that you can like hustle in the most important areas, because there is a lot of busy work that doesn't do anything for your business.
There's so much busy work. We way overcomplicate this.
Right. Yeah. I started doing like simple graphics on like products of like just showing things like what people really care about. And it's like carbs, calories, sugar, and protein, like just like plain and simple. So because that's what people look at anyway. That's what they want to know. So I'm like, I can sit here and tell you it's a plant-based energy pre-workout, but you're still going to ask about those things. So it's like I totally had a mindset shift with that.
That's good.
Yeah.
I think something to keep in mind too is that whatever you're doing in your business, you're basically teaching all of your coaches and clients how to act. So if you're spending hours on graphics or you're spending hours doing training instead of implementing and just doing the work, it's going to be really hard for somebody to be like, okay, I could do that too. Like they're going to see you working all these hours. Like yes, sometimes we're going to work hours. Like if you're at a point in your business where you have a really large organization, but as a new coach, you don't need to do that. You need to do the basics and the 4 vitals. And that's what you teach to your new coaches, the basics and the 4 vitals. And that's how you create that duplication.
Thank you so much for this call. This might not be a question. I'm not really sure. I'm just in like a frustrating season. I am new coach, but I came out the gate kind of swinging and hit Success Club, Starter Club, the whole 9. And I am doing the work, and I did not get anyone this month. And I'm like drowning myself in like negative thought, and that like what I'm doing isn't working and no one's seeing my vision, and it's just super frustrating. And like my husband had pointed out, like if you just look at my page of what I was posting, like even just like a few months ago versus now is like completely different. But just like getting through like the tough negative stuff, and I have the tools. It's just about like really picking them up and doing it. I'm not really sure what my question is. I'm just really frustrated because I feel like I'm doing the work. I'm putting myself out there. I'm like, everything is getting done. My tracker, I have my own list and my tracker. Like I'm working in pockets of time. I don't think I'm like overworking where I'm like making people feel uncomfortable. I also don't want to beg people either, because that's not my vision. My vision is if you want what I have, do what I do. but no one seems to be grasping it, and it's super frustrating.
So the best piece of advice I could give you, and this might be like a 3-piece advice. I don't really know. I was trying to count them in my head. So number one, I know it's really hard to get sucked into that negative mindset, but the more you stay in that negative mindset, like people will pick up on that, even if you don't think they'll pick up on it. So I think finding ways, or like maybe you already know some ways to get yourself out of that funk. And I'm not going to pretend that I don't get like that, because I totally do. Like I shut down for a good part of this month because we hustled so hard at the end of August, I was done. But I knew that I had to get my mental health back first, and sometimes that's more important than the work. Like you may need to just take a day and be like, okay, today is going to be a great day. I'm going to do a lot of personal development. I'm going to do some silent time. I'm going to write down all my affirmations. And when I feel like crap, I write down a lot of affirmations based on like my value. Like I have value to offer. I'm excited to go out and make an impact today. The right people will be attracted to me today. I'm trying to think of some other ones off the top of my head. Like I literally have this whole list of them, but you need to focus on that mindset first. Cause even when you're doing the work, if you're doing the work in that kind of like headspace, people pick up on that, and they might not realize how you feel, but they're going to realize that something's off. That's the first piece of advice. Like take a little time and just like make yourself feel good. Second piece of advice, set up systems to help you get out of that funk. And this kind of goes like with when like life just happens, like how you said your social media was different a few months ago. Go reuse that content. Like there is nothing wrong with that. Take those posts and start posting them again, because you have new followers, you have new people, and likely probably only half the people that follow you saw it the first time. So just share it again, and that will attract more people. Don't give up. Okay, I guess that's number 3. Don't give up, because we still have a week left. Like I'm still pushing for my goals, and it's easy to want to give up, but we still have a whole freaking week left.
I know. I'm still going. I'm like the Energizer Bunny. I won't give up. I also think it might be like a lesson for my ego. Like hitting Success Club and doing all the things. And then thinking that like those like, you know, I know this, it's just like ego and disease thinking like tricks you into thinking different things whenever it sees that pocket. Like you can't ride on last month's coattail. Like you hit Success Club every month, and it wasn't easy for me per se, but I had a fitness following kind of before that, so people trusted me already. So when I announced that I was coaching, it wasn't necessarily very hard. And it's like I'm not gonna lie, it's a huge blow to my ego, and I was having a really hard time with it. The last couple of days I've been like just letting it go. Like Success Club is not going to define me, you know, like, and I know that Beachbody sets that up to keep us motivated, and it's a great tool. But I can't like set my worth up around if I got Success Club or not, you know?
Exactly.
Because I know I'm doing the work. Like the difference would be like if I'm not invited, so I was in I'm in the Boom Dash to Diamond thing, and before that I was under my own team with Christina. We were in a Dash to Diamond group also, and like there was a goal to meet for certain invites, and I exceeded that invite with the first 3 days of the week. So like I was doing that, and I think that's where I was so frustrated, because it was like, well, I'm doing all these things and why isn't this happening? And so I know that, and I think that would be the difference if like I wasn't doing the work and still not making it. Like obviously I would have something to look at. So now I'm just kind of like, what am I not doing? But it doesn't just have to be like what I'm not doing. It could just be like I don't know.
My coach always says, so she did say one thing this month, because I actually think that this is like a slower month for everybody. At least I'm seeing that like in my team and my uplines team. So number one, like you can use these times, like you said, like as a humbling matter. Like you going through this right now will help your future coaches going through this. Like because you experienced it, you'll be able to help them. But another thing she always says is don't be afraid to try different stuff. If the invites you're using right now aren't working, switch them up. Like, try something different. Try something new every day if that's what it takes. Like, share your transformation one day. Share another person's transformation another day. Share them in stories. Like, I don't think you can share too much because people don't see everything you share. So don't be afraid to try new things and just switch it up if it's not working.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I love your dog. He's so cute.
He's the only one that can get his head up here.
I love it. Thank you so much. I really needed this call. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you guys didn't hear that. Any other questions or anything else?
I don't think so. This was awesome. Thanks so much, Allison.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad it was helpful for you.
All right, so do you guys want to take a picture or a boomerang or something?
We probably wouldn't be good coaches if we didn't, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we do it out all the time. So
I'm going to take a boomerang.
all right.
Let me, hold on. There we go. Perfect. All right, everyone come off video. Who's not on video there besides Brooke? Who's not feeling good?
Cara coming in hot.
All right, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, awesome. All right, thanks so much, Allison. This was great. Send over those questions because I know a lot of people want them.
Okay, I'll shoot him over to Brooke right away.
Cool. Awesome.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.